friends, this is Michael with ePapery. Today we are here with part 4 of our Components of a Journal series, and today we're talking about ephemera. Now there are different definitions of ephemera for different people. I interpret it as being pockets or tucks or belly bands, envelopes, journal cards, tags, flip outs, fabric flips, booklets, one sheet wonders, over the top tabs, book pages. You can probably use many different types of paper to do these, but I'm going to start out with book pages. So any of this ephemera can be made with book pages, scrapbook paper, digitals, junk mail envelopes, master boards, file folders, anything that's paper, or some type of cardstock. So we're going to get started with, I think there's 10 book page ephemeras. Now, I'm not necessarily going to do a detailed tutorial of all of these, but I'm just going to show them and briefly, try and explain how you make it. This is a very little pocket. It's a book page, and as you can see, when you open it up, it is a entire book page. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your book page and you're going to fold it, and this is always the hardest part for me. You are going to fold it so that it makes this peak at the top. Okay, now I just kind of sort of used this as a, example. And they don't have to be perfect. I mean, So that you've done that, and then you basically take this and you fold it over. Now you kind of want to make this so it's even on both sides, which is the hardest part. Okay. Okay, that one looks pretty good. We're just gonna do that, and there you go. And then what happens is you can take this tab and put it into this slot, and that keeps this together. And if you wanted to, you could actually take the inside and cover it with coffee dyed paper or something and make it almost like a hidden journal spot. And this could be paper clipped in, it could be glued. You could glue it entirely down, or you could glue it on two sides and make it a tuck. So many different things you can do with that one. So that's the first book page one. Okay, the second book page one is somewhat similar, but this one, yeah, it's, fairly similar. But what you do with this one, and I'm going to use the bigger sheet so that you can see better, and this one sometimes takes a little fiddling with. Okay, so you've got in this case with book pages, I took 2 book pages and glued them together so that I had a bigger sheet of paper. Otherwise, if you do it with just one book page, you're going to end up with a smaller one like this, which, you can do. So you take your book page and you fold in your corners, okay? Each corner gets folded in, hopefully pretty close to the same amount on each side. Fold in your corners. Then you fold it in half, okay? And again, you might have to fiddle with it to make sure that these edges are, fairly close. And then you do exactly the same thing again. You put your take your corners and fold them in, and then you can take this tab and slip it in the other side, and there you go. Now in this case, you've got a pocket here, you've got a pocket here. Where's my tags? I'm just going to use a small tag to show you. Okay, so you have a pocket here in between these two. You have a pocket here. Okay, well, I'm not getting it in, but you could do it there. You can have a pocket in the middle, and you have a pocket up here, because as you can tell, this is separate. So you have a pocket there, and then if you glue it on your page and leave the top open, you've got another pocket. So that is that one. Now I'm not going to tell you each and every person that I have seen do these, because a lot of these have been done on many channels and nobody really knows who first came up with it. So I'm not going to indicate to you where these came from. And I'm not even sure what to call most of them. Okay, what do we got here? I think this is one I just made up, and I don't know how good it's going to be, but okay. This is almost like a one-sheet wonder, but I've made it out of a book page. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to fold each end in a little bit. These are going to become tucks, okay? And then you fold it, and you want it a little under a half when you're folding it up, so that you have, this thing going on where it's not equally folded in half. Sometimes these things are hard to explain. So what you have here is a tuck spot. What you have over here is a tuck spot. Open it up, and I have taken another book page, a piece of a book page, and I have folded it almost sort of accordion, but this first one I just folded it down. It's about 2 inches, okay? So I folded it about 2 inches, and then I folded in about halfway. So this could be like 1 inch, another inch up, you fold again. And then you fold it again much further up, so that when you look at it from the front, oops, this way, okay. When you look at it this way, you are going to have a pocket here, and a pocket there. And so that would be glued in here like that. And again, if you glue it down like this, you're going to have that third pocket. So pocket here. When it's glued down, you have a third pocket. Now these again are just tuck spots. So now I'm going to close that up, and you got a tuck spot there. But if you want to make this into something that you're clipping into your journal, you could also make, like a belly band and put it either here on this side, or if you're just going to clip it in and not glue it, you could put it on the back if you wanted to do that. But I think here would be the best place to do it, so that it's not impeding something else. So that is one I was just fiddling around with. I'm sure somebody has probably made something similar before, but sometimes if you just take a piece of paper and start fiddling and folding with it, you come up with all kinds of different ideas, some of which may have been already used and some of them may not, who knows. So that's another one. So that's a total of 3 right now. Number 4, and this one I did get from a YouTuber, but what it basically is it can give you, like, well, depending upon how you glue it to your page, you could have as many as 3 pockets. But what you're doing here is you've got the pocket, but then you have this fold over which you can open up, and that will make a journaling spot. And you could, if you wanted to make, you could make this like a belly band. So you can make this whatever size you want. So first of all, you will take like half of your book page and then fold it in on one end, and glue it down. That's only to make it sturdier on this top portion here. Okay. Okay, then you take your second piece of paper, and what you're basically doing is, I took it, did I fold it in half, or was it? Yeah, I folded it in half and just kind of creased it. You don't have to entirely fold it. And then you take this part and you fold it up. No, down. This is the top. Okay, so you fold this down, and this one you fold, wait a minute, what am I doing here? Okay, I'm getting confused. I was trying to figure out how to do this with just one piece of paper, and it is not working for me. So what, I guess, if you can figure out, good luck to you. I'm just going to cut it in half. Oh dear. Okay, so I'm going to cut it in half. This half goes here. My God, my brain is not working today. And this half goes here. Okay. And then that makes your pocket, each pocket, and then your flip up. Okay, here's one, and this one will hold, it'll hold the other flap down. So she called this triple tags and flips pocket. Okay, so you basically have a hidden journaling spot there and 2 pockets. And if you wanted to, again, depending upon how you glued it on your page, you could glue it on 3 sides this way and have a tuck here, or you could glue it on both sides in the bottom and you'd have another tag you could put up there. So that is that one. I'm so sorry I struggled with that so much. Ay, ay, ay. I'm going to get rid of that one quick. Okay, what's up next? Double page pocket. Now this one I think was from Patricia Veramontes. Okay, so taking a book page. Okay, now this particular one I used a big book, but for demonstration purposes I just used a regular book page. It just makes it a little bit smaller. But basically what you're doing is just folding your corners in on your top piece, folding it in half that way, and folding it in half this way, and then you have, I'm going to pretend that this is a journal page, and you stick it on your journal page and glue it. And if you glue it all the way down, you've got 1 pocket. But if you decide to just glue it here and here, you have another pocket. Or if you glue it here and here, you have a tuck this way. So that is a very simple one too. Next, okay, this one was one that Edith from Scrapbooking with Me showed. So you've got your book page. Okay, here's my book page. Okay. So I think the first thing I did was I took and folded up I folded up on the side here, because this is going to make like a tuck spot or pockets here. Okay, and then I folded it okay, I didn't want it folded in half. Some days. Okay. Okay, put it this way. You fold this here So it's about a third of the way on your book page, okay, on your full book page. Then you take this one and you fold, tuck it under to make it, you know, a corner pocket tuck there, okay. And then what you're going to do is take and cut this particular piece off. I left it on there so you could see, but I'm going to cut this piece off. Okay, so now you've got that, and you've got this. Okay, so you end up with, okay, so you end up with your tuck spot here, and you can do it either way, whichever direction you want to do it. You know, if you wanted to use this one and do it this way, you could. So you've got your tuck spot, you open it up, you've got a pocket here, a pocket there, and you close this up, and you could, if you wanted to, you could put another pocket on here if you're going to clip it in like that, or make another, you know, make another corner tuck if you wanted to, you know, tuck this part in and you'd have another tuck spot like that. So you'd have two tuck spots, and you know, like that, and when you open it up you have your other one. But anyway, there you go, that's that one. Fancy fold out pocket is what Miss E called that one. Next up, okay, this one, I don't know where I saw this, but it's what I basically took is a book page, and I pretty much folded it in thirds, although this one is a little less than a third. So when you open this one out like this, you've got 3 tags together, okay. Now this one, I cut these individually and then I put washi tape on. Now what I was trying to do here is to make this so that I didn't have to do that, that they would each, you know, fold out. And now I'm trying to see how I want to do that. Okay. So this one here, and that one there. Oops. Okay. Okay, so you would start with your larger tag, and you know, you just want to make a tag out of it. What you're going to do is you're going to cut down a little bit on each tag so that it fits within the next one. So in this particular instance, you would cut down to here, kind of that way, and then you can make your tag. Now this is going to be a little bit different because this piece of paper is a little bit bigger, but okay, so cut your tags on, or your slots off your tag, like that. So you've got your first tag made. Okay, there's your first tag. On your second tag, you want this one to be a little bit lower yet. So when you make your tag here, you want it to come down a little bit lower. So I guess what I would do in this particular instance is I would cut oh goodness, I'm just gonna try this and see if it works. Cut down here the other 2 spots where your tag is going to be. Okay, so there. This one here is going to be the smallest one. So you're going to want to cut that down here. And make your tabs for that. You're going to have to cut this down in order to get... Okay, so you're going to have to cut some off of this third piece here. I think it's probably easier to just make 3 tags and stick them together. I was just trying to do it out of one page. Sometimes you make things more complicated for yourself, right? Okay, so that's your third tag. Now you basically have, this needs to be cut down. Otherwise it looks weird. Okay, so now basically all you have to do is cut this one, and you're going to cut this one a little bit bigger than the smaller one. So again, we're going to have to cut down here a little bit. And there. Okay, so we got that. Now we're just going to make our tag. I think I gotta make that down a little bit more yet. And then we're going to, I'm not probably going to do this very well, but there. Now this is, you know, kind of a, not exactly perfect, but anyway, you get the idea of it. And then it's going to make, oh boy, see, that one is really weird. So, like I said, you might be better off just to make each tag separately and put them together with washi or something. I was just trying to figure out how I could do it on one piece of paper. So, okay, there you go, like that. And then you can punch your holes in there if you want it to look more like a tag. You can put some ribbon or something in there. You could decorate the, you know, and on the backs of these you could have your coffee dyed paper and make a journaling spot. So there we go. That's another one. I already forgot how many that is. This one is quite easy. Basically what this is just a book page that is, you know, folded over to, when you open up this part, you cover this with coffee dyed paper, and that makes a journaling spot. This is a pocket, and that could be a pocket. So what I did is I folded this, I think I folded it in half, pretty close to half, not quite. Not quite in half. Okay, and then I folded it down again to make the flap. That's gonna house your journaling spot. Okay, and then what you do, you put your thumb notch here, and on this, you just glue this on each end to make another pocket. Don't glue this. Don't glue this side, because that'll glue down your flip there. And that's an easy one. Okay? Now, you don't have to use book page to make these. You can make them out of any kind of paper you want to. Here's another one. This is a simple one that, and again, this original one I made with a larger book page. But it's just basically, here you've got your book page. Fold it in half, okay? Fold it in half. And then you fold in one corner, and then you fold in the opposite corner. Glue those down, fold it like this, and when you put it on a page, let me see if I can find a page. Of course not. I'm going to fold this in half. There we go. Then when you put it on a page, you're going to put it on like this. Okay? So then you've got, actually, okay, you got a tuck there on that side, and you have a tuck on this side. Now, that's okay if you want an up tuck here. If you wanted to, you could just fold this side in, and then you've got, then you've got them both as a corner type tuck. And then you just glue this and this on each side, and you've got your piece of ephemera. Okay. We're finally at the last one here. Now, if I can remember what this one is, huh? Okay. Oh, actually, there's two. Yeah. What the heck did I do here? Okay, so I took a book page. Okay. The hardest part about this with the book page is in order to make it sturdy, you're gluing two together. Trying to get them straight is not not the easiest thing. Okay, so I cut this in half now. I left my cutter out in the other room, so, but you've got, now this is just a very simple pocket. It's just cut it down to how big you want it. You know what, I do have these scissors, that might be better. So I'm just going to cut this down where and cut it down on each side. Okay, put your notch in there and glue it down on this side, down the bottom and up, and you've got a pocket. So that was pretty simple. This one, oh, this is like a double pocket. Okay, so on this one, in order to make the openings of the pockets a little bit sturdier, I would fold these in, and if I could find a glue stick, I'd do that. And then I would fold this one this way to make it sturdier. Okay, and then basically what you're going to do is you're just going to fold this up to make two pockets. Very simple. Okay, so you have a pocket here, a pocket there. Very simple. Glue it here on the bottom and up the side. And that is another one. Very, very simple. And again, you don't have to make these out of book pages. It's just, sometimes the book pages are nice to use. There are 10 book page pockets, ephemera. Okay, these are ones that can be made out of junk mail envelopes. Starting with this one, this is a little corner tuck that has a tab on it. And, very, very simple. This one happens to be very tiny. It doesn't need to be that tiny. the hardest part about this is making the tab. If you have one of those tab makers, you can use that. I have one, but apparently I forgot to bring it in with me. So if you wanted to make this one a little bit bigger, just take a pencil or a pen or something. I don't know what this is, pen, but you know, make your tab. I'm just kind of drawing one, nothing very. So you're putting this all the way to the edge of your envelope, and then you're cutting your tab into that. Okay? And then, you know, you're going to use this to cut your, and again, I would use my paper cutter if I had it with me, but I don't. So just cut an angle there somehow. Okay? And then just go ahead and cut your tab, and you have a side pocket with a tab. I made several of these. If you watched my grunge journal, now this is where it's folded, so you don't have to worry about cutting that, but okay. And maybe you want that tab to be a little deeper than what it is there. There you go. And if you're not feeling safe with this being open, then glue that down. But there is, you know, a corner pocket with a tab out of a junk mail envelope. Okay, the next one is something I've done fairly often. Okay, this is what I call a window belly band with pocket and hidden journaling spot. So here is the envelope. Okay, I basically folded the envelope in half. All right, folded the envelope in half. Then I folded up a portion of it because that's going to become a pocket. Now I don't need, I mean, you could leave this if you wanted to make two pockets, but you don't need to. So what I'm going to do is cut off this piece, which is why I already made a cut here. But I'm going to cut it down again. Okay. I didn't do a very good job of cutting that. Okay. So now you have your pocket on the front. Again, you would glue it, you know, on the two sides. There, you'd glue it up. And then now it opens up. This could all be journaling if you want it to be. Then you have your window here. Okay. So what I did is I went ahead and cut this side of the envelope open. Okay. And there you can then stick a tag or something in with a pretty picture on it or something to put it in here so that you will be able to see what's in there. Sorry, I don't have anything that's really fitting in there. Let's see. Let's just take this one and put it in there. Okay, so you're just going to put this in there, and then you're going to be able to see your picture through the window. And then normally what I've done with these in the past is I've made them into belly bands. So you would take your envelope and you would glue it down here and up here, and that way you're able to tuck something else in there. You've got a pocket here. You open this up, you've got journaling spot. Okay? So that is that one. What's next? Well, this one's really simple. So you've got an envelope. This one happens to have a really big window on it. And you just fold it. You could fold it in half. I folded it so that it would be, you know, so there would be equal amounts around the window. Okay. And then I opened up this part so that you can stick, you know, something in, so you could see it in the window, like that. And then if you wanted to, you could cut this under the window and make a pocket there. You could fold this down like this and make a corner pocket. And so then it would sit on your page like this. Again, so you've got a pocket on this page and a pocket on this part of the page. Okay, or you could just leave this like this and cut it here. And or if you don't want it, make it into a pocket, you could use it as a flip out journaling spot. Here's the next one. This again is just an envelope. Okay, so I took an envelope, I folded up, I don't know, it's probably about 2 inches or so. Then I cut off my tag angles, okay, and folded one of them down. So this can be a flip up journal spot if you want it to be. This would become a pocket. And then this, if you glued this and this like that, you would have another pocket. It's just a little bit different. And then if you glued it on your page, you could put it down like this, you know, and you could glue it again any way you want. You could glue it here, down here, and on the, and make this into a tuck. Or you could just glue the 3 sides here and have another spot for another tag. So that is another one. These are all very simple. Here is another one that I took a smaller envelope and made this one. And I basically, let me see if I got an envelope. Okay, so this one has a flap on it. So you pretty much take your envelope apart, and then you've got, you know, where you can cut angles on the top portion of the envelope. Okay, and then fold it in half. It would go on a page like that, or like this. There. Now again, depending upon how you glued this on, if you wanted to, you could glue here, and you'd have a pocket here, plus this pocket. And then on your next page, you know, maybe you wanted to do it differently, glue it differently, but that is another simple one. Here's another one that I kind of just did on my own at one point in time. I just took an envelope. You're basically making, you know, a file folder pocket. So then we're just going to, you know, again, if you have one of those punches that punches out the tabs for you, that would be, you know, wonderful. Now, when I made this one, this was the end of the envelope, and this was the side of the envelope. This particular envelope didn't have that ready necessarily, so it had, yeah, it does, duh. Okay, so you got the side here and the side here. This would be glued down there. So you have a pocket here where you could put, you know, a picture in if you wanted. And then I also did, and let's see, you could do this so many different ways. Okay, so if you made another small file folder, you could glue it on like this. Okay, so there's a file folder. You could flip it down. You'd be able to see what's in the window. This could be journaling. And then on the other side, if you didn't glue it down, you could do the same thing. Flip it and, you know, whatever. Or you could just take, if you don't have a window, just take this file folder and glue it down on this envelope. You know, if you wanted to leave this open to make a pocket, you could, and then just have it flip down for journaling. That's easy enough. Here's another belly band suggestion. Now this one I don't have a window in it. What I did is I just took and folded in the ends on each side of the envelope and just folded them in to make the size of a belly band, okay? And then what you would do is glue this part down. So I would just glue these down. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I never know whether I'm in frame or not. Okay, so I glued that down. Glued this down. By the way, you would have to close up your envelope before you started doing this. Okay, so you've got hopefully this glued down, which I don't like this glue stick, so which is why it hasn't been used in a while. Okay, doesn't want to stay glued. Okay, and if you didn't want to do anything else to it, there's your belly band, you know, just like that. Put it on your page. But what I have done previously is I have cut down the sides, and I may not cut it all the way, just part of the way, and then you're able to, let me think about this, you could, you know, move this up and make a small pocket if you wanted to too, you know, like that, like we did on the other one. But if you cut the sides off on each side, you're going to open up this envelope, and then you've got a space to put tags and whatnot in. Now I think when I did this before, I'm not sure if I made this into a belly band or if I just put it down making it look like a belly band. But for example, if you decided you weren't gonna, I mean, I'm not gonna do all of this. I'm just gonna try and do, well, maybe not. If you want to laugh, you come watch Michael try and do her stuff. I really do, you know, make halfway decent journals. Okay, so I'm going to do that like that. Okay. So you've got an open spot here where you can tuck something in. Okay. Now, I've also done it where I've done the exact same thing on the other side. If I can figure out whereabouts I started here. Okay. Normally I would do this with a, okay. So now you've got it open on both sides. Okay. Now what I did is I took glue and just went down the center of this. And when you do that, then you've got small tucks on each side of the belly band. And then you can put it down as a belly band. I don't know if that's making sense to, this is too long anyway, but so you would glue it here and glue it down at the bottom so it's a belly band. But it also then would have a small tuck spot here, and that if you glue it down the center, okay, you'd have a small tuck spot on both sides. So you have one here and one here. Small tuck spot. Okay. Oh dear. Now this is just an envelope that came this way. This is from ARP. and it's got this big flip on it. So I'm looking at this thinking, well, yeah, you know, you could do a lot of things with that. You could add something to it and make it entire, you know, if you wanted to add more paper to it, you could make it so this would be an entire journal page to sew in with the envelope and then with the page on it. Or you could take it and you've got an opening here, so you could put it on a page, okay, like this, and you would have you could have a pocket here, or if you wanted to glue the envelope together, you could make a pocket at the top, whatever, and then you can flip this out, and this could be journaling, and you could put another pocket here, you know, or you could put a belly band here, or just decorate, or just make all of this writing. So when you get your junk mail envelopes, look at them closely and have in mind what you might be able to do with them. So that's that one. Okay, now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of the ones that are a little bit more difficult. Okay. This one. Okay, so I've done some decorating on this one, just, you know. But here, what we have is an envelope. Okay, now there's an opening. Well, there isn't an opening. Never mind. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm having such a struggle today. Okay, there's your envelope. Fold it up about 2 inches. That's going to make a pocket. Okay, so you're going to glue here and here. That's going to make a pocket. Now, I have just glued on a pretty piece of paper there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cut in that paper. Now, I already cut this so I know where it's going to be. And basically what you're doing is cutting off the top of the envelope. I hope you can't see my head, because, okay, and you're just cutting off the top part of your envelope. Okay, so now you have this pocket here, and you have a pocket here. But if you want to make it into a hidden spot, what you could do here is you put a card in here. You're going to have to get this card so it's centered properly, and that will go in here. Now this piece of card I think is going to be too big. Yeah, just about. It's a little bit too big. So, but if you glue this card in there, okay, you glue it like to the back, or you could glue it, I guess, to the front. It doesn't really make any difference. Or you could glue both of them, I guess. And then when you stick it in here, it's a hidden journal spot because you've cut the picture in half. And when you close it, you know, maybe if this card was right. Okay, so now when you push this, oh my goodness gracious, I'm having a hard time here. Okay, put this in there, get it all the way down. If you've got your card glued on there right, and that's the fussiest thing about this, is you got to get your piece of card on there, you know, glued so it's going to line up. Okay, so then you've got, I'm not getting mine glued, or mine lined up right. But when you line it up, then it's going to look like there's no break in the picture. And so it's another hidden spot. And you can pull it out like that. So it isn't as difficult as it seems. It's just a little fiddly. Okay, what else we got? Okay, this one, it starts with an envelope. Okay, so you got like kind of, there's an envelope. Okay, let's see what we got here. I don't want to use that one. Okay, so say you've got this envelope. Okay, so you're going to pop up a fairly good part of that envelope, and again, this is going to make a pocket. This is going to make a pocket here, okay? And it has a tag that goes in it. Now, I stuck this little thing on there so that it would stop the card from going all the way in. And when you're gluing this, you're only going to glue just a little bit there and a little bit here, or you can put brads there to hold that pocket closed. And then you can add another pocket here. Just add another pocket for a smaller tag. Here's your tag in this pocket. You've got a tag in this pocket. And then what you do is you'll be cutting the top of this off, okay? And you're going to have, there's going to be a pocket there where you can put in a journal card, okay? And then you can take another piece of paper or a piece of cardstock, which is what I did here. You open it up and you fold it down so it has a small tab on it. I don't know if you can see that or not. It has a small tab on it, and then you glue that tab to the front piece of the pocket. And it's a flip out then. So you have a flip out, a pocket here, a pocket here, a pocket here, and a pocket here. Okay? And that's just starting with an envelope as a base. The last one. Okay. Now I think I was just fooling around here with envelopes and okay, so I think this is 2 envelopes. So yeah. Okay. Now I just made a pocket again on the front. So this will make this pocket right here. Okay. And then I have another, and this part here is open to make a pocket. So the top of your envelope is going to be cut open. Okay. Then I took another envelope and it's probably about a half of an envelope. And then I'm just going to do it this way for now so that okay. And you're going to put that on the back, glue it to the back of your envelope. Now again, you're going to cut off most of this envelope. Okay. So this is going to, wrong way, going to be glued to the back of your envelope. Okay. Now I could have cut it down or folded a little less because this is hanging over quite a bit, but it doesn't really make any difference. Okay, then you are going to, let me make sure I get this right. Yep. And this one is glued shut for some unknown reason. Okay, anyway, there's a pocket there. Okay, there's a pocket there, right here. It's going to be probably not a huge pocket, but it is a pocket. And then you take this portion that you have on the back here, and you cut open the top of this. Now, let's glue this down. Okay, glue that down. All right, so then this is glued here. Probably a little further up than that. Yeah, okay. So then this is cut open here. Okay, so you're just going to glue the back of that. Oh, sorry, I know I'm not in frame. Okay. Okay. So again, here's the front. We want the back. So we are going to do this. Fold that part over. Now, it's just the back part of that envelope that's glued down. So you still are going to have a little pocket here on the back if you want to utilize that. Okay, then what you're going to do, I'm trying to think what I did. I'm trying to remember what I did. Did I cut that? Yes, I did. Okay, so this end of this envelope is cut. Okay, now this is going to open up like this, so then here, this back part can be another tuck spot or a, envelope spot. And then what you're going to do, I think I cut, yeah. I think I cut this envelope here all the way down to the fold. Okay, so that it opens up. I don't know how I did that. And then I just took this part and I folded it into an angle pocket is all I did. So you got an angle there, and then you folded this one so it's not quite as low as the other one, it's higher up. Let's see if that works. No, not really. Okay. Okay, I just really need to, it's probably better off if you fold it to the front first so that you can see that it's going to come out fairly even with the other fold. Okay, close enough, I guess. So there you have two tuck spots on that part of the envelope. I just don't know how to fold worth an art. But I want this one down further. Well, anyway, I can't get it straight right now. Oh my goodness gracious. This is hilarious. Okay, well anyway, there you've got a slot here and a slot there. You've got a did I have a pocket up? Yes, I did. So then you're going to cut this off too, this end, sorry. It isn't really that hard, people, it's just me not knowing what I did. You'll have a pocket here. If you glue these down, you've got a tuck spot here, here. You have a pocket here. You have a pocket back here if you want one. And there you go. That's just using 2 envelopes. Anyway, there you go. And then you just cover it up with the paper that you want and go on your way. As I said, sometimes you just have to sit and just take an envelope and just go, okay, what can I do with this? You know, and then just start folding and doing whatever, and you'll come up with something. And it might not always work out the first time, and when you try it again, it might not work out either. But at least, you know, you're working with junk mail envelopes, getting rid of those envelopes without sending them to the landfill. This is just an end of an envelope, and if you've got a smaller journal, you can just use that as a pocket. I mean, you know, it's a little small for this, but hey, it can be used. So that is envelopes. Now, there are 10 pockets you can make with junk mail envelopes, or billy bands with junk mail envelopes. Okay? Now, again, as I said, you don't have to use envelopes. You can, you know, everybody knows how to make an envelope, or at least has an envelope, probably has an envelope board, or there's tutorials out there on how to make a simple envelope. So you can use those to make an envelope if you want. And then, you know, you can use your digitals or your scrapbook paper or whatever you want to use. I will leave you today with those ephemera ideas. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if there is a favorite piece of ephemera that you like and you use all the time in your journal. And more than likely, it's one that I haven't mentioned here. And we all have shared ideas that we can utilize. And so that's the end of the part 4, which is the ephemera. Next time, we're going to work on part 5, which is decorating. And that is our favorite part, right? The 5th part is going to be closures. And then we will be done with all the components of a journal. And then it will be on to a new project. So thank you again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you later. Bye.